get out to you guys, and hopefully we can do it again.
What I remember about that race is you didn't bring any tools. You brought one tool with like a couple inserts for it, and all my tools the whole weekend were on your bench.
Yeah, yeah, we were making fun of Taylor. He had like the multi-tool with OFNA cells, but it's kind of like the thing that you buy on, the QVC channel. Where okay, and now if you buy this, we're gonna throw in the 2 millimeter, the 3 millimeter, and the 4 millimeter. But Taylor had this one handle, and like 20 different ends, and he's sitting there changing things, and Chad and I are just like looking at, are you serious? Well, I had to travel light. But no, we appreciate it too. And it's like myself, is before being a manufacturer, I've raced and developed cars and raced for just about every manufacturer out there, and still talk to all the manufacturers and have a good working relationship with a lot of them. And the one thing what I always said to myself, when we have a team, I don't want inter-team rivalry. I don't want my 2-star drivers or our 5-star drivers competing against each other. I want it where we're a team. We go out there. If one of us wins, it's a win for the whole team. And that's part of the thing where I've not put pressure on just one guy and say, okay, it's up to you. It might be one weekend, Chad goes out and wins, or next weekend Taylor goes out and wins, or Matt Gosh, or Rick and Ryan, or whoever, Tanner Stees and Ross Denny and those guys. And everybody has their part on the team, and I think that's what I'm the most proud about, is the way our team operates, and I'm just proud about the drivers because they all work together. I mean, when we go to a race, we're there to win as a team. It's not just a single person. Okay, it's the Taylor James show, and I know that you guys would help each other anyway. I've seen you guys pull motors out of each other's car when one of the guys doesn't make the main, and help the other guy, or help pit, or whatever it takes. Tires. I know one thing. Tires. Taylor's always stealing your tires, Chad.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that where they always go? Oh,
and but anyway, getting back to that, I said earlier, and I don't mean this bad, but everybody, we're on here and it's live, so everybody has to know this. Chad is probably the most prepared on the team, and Taylor he's the opposite end of the spectrum there, but he's working on it. But I gotta laugh sometimes because Taylor's one of those guys where he just frustrates me because he has so much natural talent and he's such a good kid. And then sometimes he shows up with his car, where it hasn't been rebuilt for 4 or 5 months. But he's been working on it, and it's got a lot better. And but I appreciate everything that you do, saying that.
It's not that bad. 4 or 5 months, come on.
Okay, 3.5. No, but so the next big race for our team to attend is the Roar Nationals in Joliet, Illinois, and you're going to go back there pretty soon and test for us. And this will be a new format again for Roar, because we're going to combine truck and buggy again, where they separated it before. So it's going to be tough for us because it's 2 classes now, so it's a lot more work, a lot more parts we have to ship, a lot more preparation, tires, wheels, everything. I mean, what do you feel about this with them being combined?
Well, like you said, it's going to be a lot more work. It's kind of nice when it was split up. It's just one class. You could really focus on, if it was buggy, you could really focus on buggy and your setup and what tires choose and everything. And, there's a lot entailed in that. And when you get there for 2 classes, it's a lot, to deal with. And I think that's where, us being so close to the team really comes into play because, if I'm struggling, say with my buggy or something, I can ask Chad, hey, what do you think changing this will do for the track, or what do you think I need to do, for the surface, and even selecting tires and stuff. We have really good communication, so I think that's where our, having a really close team really helps out, is when we have a lot to deal with, especially with the nationals being combined in 2 classes.
Yeah, I mean, as on our side, on the business side of it, I like what they're doing. I was one of the ones that it didn't agree with having it, 2 separate weeks. But what I wish they would have done is just made it a week long, whereas before we were going in for 5 or 6 days anyway, race and buggy, Then we would come back, in another month or two we had to fly someplace else and race for 5 or 6 days. Whereas now, I wish they would have just made it a week long instead of trying to pack everything into 3 or 4 days. Because it would give us a little bit more time. Because what's always a problem when we go to these races is weather. We get to this race, it rains one day, and the promoters and the organization mainly, they don't think about weather. They just think everything's going to go off like planned, but it never happens, as we all know.
Yeah, I know. Rain's always a big problem at the races. It doesn't seem like it rains until we schedule an RC race. So.
Yeah. And that's what thinking back, like the pre-worlds last year when you won, I look back at that race. We did all this testing beforehand on Blue Groove track and different setups and what we thought it was going to be. Then we get there and it pours. And to be honest, Taylor, I don't think you even ran the qualifiers, did you? Till the end?
I think I ran the very last qualifier or something like that.
Yeah, the last couple,
no,
I think.
I ran like the last two qualifiers
Yeah.
or something.
And you ended up
I didn't
TQing.
run like the first day of qualifying. So.
Yeah, and you ended up top qualifying, and it was just guesswork. I mean, we had a truggy bumper. We had the stiffest springs we could find because of the mud, and it was just one of those things where, I mean, your driving was awesome, but we had a lot of luck because we just hit the right setup. And then for the main, it went back dry again. We had to go back to a different setup, and so that's the bad part is chasing these setups, and not having time on the track. We get to a lot of these events and we literally get 1 or 2 times on the track, and then we go into qualifying, and if it rains, like in that case, we didn't get any time on the track,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's the hardest part about it. But I think that's also where a lot of the fun is, just trying to use what you know and try and get the best setup on your car when you only have a couple runs on the track. And it definitely separates the men from the boys, as far as how you're doing qualifying stuff. You just kind of got to go out there, and if your car's not very good, you just kind of got to drive it and deal with it. So it's a lot of fun as well, even though it's hard.
What's cool also is me and Taylor, we both kind of run different setups, like especially on the buggy. So like when we do go to a big race, he's watching my car and I'm watching his car to see if his car's doing something better on the track, or if my car's doing something better, then we could like apply it, before qualifying starts, or sometimes even during qualifying, to get our stuff going even better. So, I always thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's like that's one thing I always thought was really, really neat is Chad and Taylor. They're one of the few, a lot of these guys, we go to a race, they have a setup, they don't change anything. Chad likes to do that. He likes to go with the setup, but once things start changing on the track, Chad is really good about thinking about things and weighing out the situation, making the changes to his car, and helping the other team or the other members on the team. And also, Taylor's great about that too, going with something totally different as far as, okay, the track's a little rough or it's a little muddy, we're going to try this spring, we got to do something different, we're a little bit off the pace. And neither one of them are followers, they're leaders and always trying something new. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it works to our advantage because they're trying 2 different setups. And then if one of those work, you might throw away the one round for the one guy it didn't work for, but if the other one works, then the whole team starts switching to it, and it really helps us.
Yeah, that's like a good example of that was at the Worlds when Matt Gosh was kind of running actually quite a bit different setup than we all were, especially with the suspension. He was running, I think, a really light setup, and he was out there and just loved his car, and so we all kind of started switching to it, and that ended up being pretty much the setup of choice for everybody, with a little bit of tweaking, for personal preference, but the general setup was pretty much what Max was running, so that was a pretty good example of that.
Yep. All right, Taylor, well, we appreciate you calling in again. That's Taylor James, one of the team drivers for Jammin' Products, calling in from, where are you at right now?
Chuck E. Cheese.
I'm actually at school right now.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I'm in the library. I'm over in the corner trying to be kind of quiet.
All right, Taylor. Well, we appreciate you calling in, man, and I'll talk to you later on.
All right, see you guys.